Benjamin, I've got your work right. I've got your work up right here, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. But I want to address your writing first. A couple of comments here that I want to address. Um, I wanted to choose something that was relaxing when I think of vacation. My favorite part is thinking about where I'll be staying at night, sleeping as well. Okay, excellent. And then right over here we have my background choice. Could have been made. Could could have been much better as well as higher res. I totally agree with that comment. I wanted to saturate the image more because image saturation exaggerates the scene and gains more attention than realistic colors. Got to disagree with that. Now, saturated colors does enhance the experience, and a lot of companies do this on a regular basis. For example, you're correct on TV ads. The one that comes to mind first is real estate. A lot of real estate images, you'll see that those images have been saturated a little bit. So a little bit of heavy vibrance to reinforce the colors, but never unrealistic colors. That's the part I disagree with about. You want to use realistic colors. Now you can saturate to the point where it might not look fully realistic, if compared to the original scene, but you don't want to change the colors in a realistic promotional advertising campaign. You don't want to change the colors to something outside of reality, especially when the setting is basically what the product is. So you've got arguably some of the most beautiful scenery on earth. Why would we change it? Do you see what I'm saying? That's my point. So we have these gorgeous images, and right now this image has such a heavy purple kind of pink cast to it that it creates some really uncomfortable visual tension. It's just basically the viewer looks at it, opens it up, and goes, "Oh, that's interesting. That's a purple image. I wonder why." So immediately is starting to stray off the intended message, wondering why the image isn't presented in a realistic manner. I hope that makes sense. Now, if you disagree with that, then you're perfectly fine running with this. At the end of the day, this is your ad, right? I can only give you my recommendations, but I do not recommend the alternate color, the purple color cast. I don't recommend that. Now, as far as the ad itself goes, everything else is done well. You're showing excellent proficiency in all of the requirements needed for this assignment, so that's fantastic. One of the things that is kind of bugging me is the way that neither of these are really centered. This is closer to the left, this is closer to the right. So either center both of them or left align, but don't leave these kind of in limbo like that. Now, the other thing is all of these boxes. So basically the logo is acting as a box. Up to 30% off is acting as a box. The type is acting as a box, and the bottom of the address contact information area is also in a box. Now, again, you're perfectly fine if you want to keep this like this, but let me give you the repercussions here associated with your portfolio presentation. Quite often, seasoned designers, portfolio reviewers, and hiring professionals look at this treatment right here, placing things in boxes, as an amateur move and something that is very common in student design. And we don't want that. We want this to be professional design. We don't want anyone to look at this and say, "Oh, images and type placed in boxes. That's an amateur or a student designer." No, we want the people to look at this and go, "Well, that's a professionally designed ad." That's why I'm having students understand the importance of distributing the type right over the image as opposed to placing it in boxes. Now, as I said, this is fine if this is showing a proficiency, and if you want to hang on to it, that's great. But my recommendation would be to use the following format. So you have headline, subhead combination, and this example right here, I would take this body copy right here, left align headline sublet, I would place the body copy right there. Place the logo in the lower right-hand corner, and then the master image is fine, so lower right-hand corner and then lower left-hand corner for the contact information. I would remove all of the boxes, okay? And again, that's just something that I would recommend as a professional designer. The great news is you're showing outstanding proficiency. So as I've said, if you elect not to make the changes, it's gonna grade well. One of the things that's working against this campaign is the background image itself. The background image is horribly damaged. We can see it as soon as we open up the image. Also, another thing that you might want to consider is the fact that there's storm clouds rolling in here, and this is a Caribbean resort, so presumably they don't want to have anything to do with clouds in their campaign. So food for thought, right? All right, so those are my recommendations. Other than that, Benjamin, I think as I said, you're showing excellent proficiency. That's the great news, and you should be able to. Whoops, that's the wrong. Oh, here we are. Okay, yeah. You should be able to make any changes quickly now that you've got these techniques under your belt. So I'd like to see any necessary changes being made before your final campaign submission, which is coming up during week 7. And if there's anything you would like to run by me between now and then, please have at it. I'm more than happy to. But don't forget now, we want to wrap this magazine out quickly because we're using the magazine ad as the basis for the banner ad. Okay. Again, food for thought. Good job, Benjamin. Any questions at all, please let me know. Thank you very much, sir.